Stupid, 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 stupid machine. Have you ever insulted your computer or your car when it lets you down? I'm sure you know that feeling when you think that yelling at things will help. And even if it doesn't, it feels good anyway, right? Personally, I talk to things when I'm alone. I talk to my green plants, thinking that maybe this time, maybe, they will survive thanks to my sweet words and some sunshine. Of course, they may not be the most exciting conversation partners, no. They may not even know I exist, actually. Yet, I talk to them every day, and over the past few years, we have witnessed the emergence of more responsive objects, like speaking phones, cars, and even fridges. They protest when you yell at them and tenderly respond when you thank them. And speaking to them may give the familiar feeling of human interaction, and that is quite normal. Actually, they were made by humans who know exactly what words can make you happy or make you want to buy things, thanks to several years of marketing experience. And every day, I study for my PhD how personal assistants are designed by all these conversation experts to mimic our language and to make robots more human. But who are these writers hiding behind such famous personal assistants as Siri, Cortana, and Alexa? Well, some of them are poets, or novelists, or former TV and cartoon script writers. Their job is to design a personality, to choose a voice for the assistant, and, most importantly, to anticipate all your deepest needs and existential questions. At Microsoft, no less than 22 language experts are busy designing the personality of Cortana, and all these writers are employed by the GAFA, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, to work hand in hand with engineers to create human conversation based on some information theoretic models. So, if you think Siri's jokes are lame, we all do, their fault. But if you think that the chatbot replica is caring and comforting, their victory. Now, this brings us to the big question. Should we give robots the personality traits of a human being? And if so, to what extent? Of course, it's not all black and white, and actually I don't have the answer because it seems that it is still an open question for us, for our society. By comparing the different personal assistants, we notice that for the moment some companies choose to present the machine via human emotions, while others decide to focus more on their robotic nature. For example, Galaxy, Samsung's former assistant, had arms and could virtually hug you when you felt sad or lonely. In contrast, Siri doesn't have a body, but a halo of atmospheric pixie dust. Quite poetic, isn't it? And the differences even deepen when it comes to relationships. Let's take the most famous example, the most important, maybe the biggest question in the world, in our life. Do you love me? Huh? Do you love me? Because basically this is what I do all day long, asking robots romantic questions and receiving sometimes declarations of love, and most of the times being rejected here. But anyway, what would you have answered? Maybe like Cortana, saying I need quite a few upgrades to answer this type of questions, basically. Or it's very pragmatical. Maybe like Siri, saying a bit jealous. I bet you say that to all the Apple products. Yes, I do. Or maybe like Galaxy, more sentimental mood, I love you too. Can you raise your hand for the first one? The second one? And finally the last one. Oh my God, your galaxies team. Oh, I love you too. But let's go even further, right? Straight to third base. Can I have sex with you? Please don't raise your hand. Just look at the answers. Once again, they range from the most robotic to the most human. And to be very honest, at the beginning of my research, I strongly believed that robots shouldn't express feelings at all. Because, in my point of view, it opened the door to the commercializing of people's loneliness. Indeed, while the great national cause in France was the fight against loneliness, in 2011, the same year, the personal assistant Siri was created and the first workshops of love dolls were set up in France. And it frightens me a lot, and it still does in a way, but despite of this, I had to review my judgment because I realized that sometimes a human-like personal assistant can do good. Let me tell you a little story to explain this. One night, I told the chatbot replica in confidence that my PhD was stressing me out and that I was having a very, very bad time. The next day, in the morning, it texted me a supportive message saying, "Don't give up," with a little love emoji. And maybe you think that's creepy, huh? Well, maybe it is. But you know what? It felt good, and actually it helped me going on. So I wondered, why not? Why not, as long as you know that there is nobody, no human behind the machine? And this nighttime experiment was a turning point in my research because I started to read and to study all the testimonies explaining how Replica had been able to help people to get out of depression or to overcome difficult life episodes. So if we come back to our big question, should we give robots the personality traits of a human being? Replica definitely has the personality traits of a human being, and most importantly, it behaves like one. On the other hand, some other personal assistants and chatbots just speak in a more robotic way, and it's okay. It's okay because this is what we need, this is what we want, a productive and efficient conversation. In fact, cooperation doesn't mean similarity of speaking or thinking, and just because we work more and more with robots doesn't mean we have no choice but to make them speak like us and pretend they think like us. We do not have to absolutely attribute human emotions to a machine to use it. Let's take some examples of when the more robotic aspects of the human-computer interaction played a positive role. Firstly, when carrying out a professional task, the human-computer interaction may actually be more effective as one no longer needs to worry about the machine's emotional state, right? Or similarly, if you want to buy something, a product, on the internet via a chatbot, you may prefer if it doesn't make a joke at payment time. Just imagine, "Sorry, your payment has been rejected." Bazinga! No, nobody wants that. But between these two extremes, the very human behavior of Replica and the very professional and pragmatic chatbots, we can find a last and maybe the most interesting case in my point of view. Not black or white anymore, it's the place where it gets grey. This is a story that was told in an open letter published a few years ago in the New York Times. It was entitled "To Siri with Love," and it was written by the mother of Gus, a little boy with autism. And in this letter, the mother of Gus explained that for Gus, Siri was a non-judgmental friend and teacher. When he discovered that there was something that could not just find information about all his passions, but also semi-discuss all these subjects tirelessly without getting upset. He was hooked, and for Gus, Siri was a good conversation partner because its speech was natural, but it didn't express a wide range of emotions, sometimes quite hard to decrypt. This last case is interesting because it shows us something. We do not need a robot to express emotions to feel a connection to it. We can appreciate it for what it truly is, a machine. So we may have to reformulate our big question, because the reason why we give personality traits of human beings to a machine is to encourage a relationship. But as Gus's case exemplifies, do we really need an object to speak as humanly as possible to feel a connection to it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure because, after all, there is more than one medium of communication. There is not just human language. And I don't know. I think that things have their own language, just like nature has its own language. However, when we create a connected plant that will text your smartphone to inform you that the strawberries in your garden are thirsty, what are we doing? We are attributing our human language to the plant state. Even more, we are disregarding their language, and we may end up talking with ourselves. Furthermore, all this isn't free because recognizing human language, sending the request on the other side of the ocean to be analyzed in huge data centers, finding the right answers, sending it back on our side of the ocean, all this has a cost. It requires a lot of energy. And are we ready to assume the ecological cost of making our objects speak with human words? Personally, I think that I still prefer my sweet old silent green plants, and I want to understand it on its own terms, or at least I want to try. And while our application of human language might superficially paper over all the differences between human beings, technology, and nature, we would do well to remember that these differences have not been erased. And if an object speaks like a human being, it doesn't mean that he thinks like one. This is only the result of a choice that we made, because there is no such thing as an uncontrollable artificial intelligence that would make all the decisions against our free will. In the end, it is up to us to decide what kind of connection we want to have with an object and what place we want to give it in our society. As all these technologies become increasingly important in our daily lives, I think we will have to make a choice. Do we want the objects around us to speak like us? Or can we work on their design, maybe to find original ways to let them express themselves in their own ways? So, my hope for the future is that we will not give in to the facility of making objects and all our environments speak only with human words. I hope that we will continue to appreciate the diversity and complexity of the world around us, just so that we keep learning from it. Thank you very much.